The silence beneath the pines. There are places in the world that defy explanation, where time fractures, logic dissolves, and reality frays at the edges. One such place lies deep within the heart of Transylvania, in a forest that has earned a dark reputation. Hoia Baciu. Locals speak of it in hushed tones. Scientists come and leave with more questions than answers, and those who vanish inside often return changed, if they return at all. This is the story of Dorian Vasile, a man who sought closure, but instead uncovered a truth that was never meant to be known. They said the forest was cursed, but Dorian Vasile had never believed in curses. 10 years had passed since his sister, Eliza, disappeared during a hiking trip in Hoia Baciu. The investigation turned up nothing. No body, no footprints, just her cell phone, warm to the touch, lying at the center of a strange, barren clearing where nothing grew. The official report concluded she was presumed dead. After years of obsessive searching, Dorian buried the pain and moved to London, attempting to rebuild a normal life. That is, until a letter arrived. There was no return address, just a single grainy photograph. It showed Eliza, unmistakably older, standing in the same clearing. Her eyes were glassy, unfocused. Behind her loomed a shadowless human shape. On the back of the photo, someone had scrawled, "She's waiting." 3 days later, Dorian was on a plane back to Cluj. He entered the forest from the southern trail, avoiding the marked paths and ignoring the villagers' warnings. The forest welcomed him with unnatural stillness. No birdsong, no rustling leaves. Even insects were silent, as if nature itself held its breath. Dorian brought a compass, a flashlight, a voice recorder, and the photograph. As hours passed, the deeper he went, the stranger things became. His phone, fully charged, drained to zero. The compass needle spun slowly, deliberately. The air thickened, as if pressing against his thoughts. Then he found it. The clearing. A perfect circle 300 feet wide, surrounded by vibrant forest, but within, the earth was lifeless and gray. In the center lay a single black feather, warm to the touch. That was when he heard her voice. Dorian. Not from in front or behind, but inside his mind. He turned. The shadows between the trees began to move. The voice faded, but the presence of the forest intensified. Dorian stepped into the clearing. The temperature dropped. Though his watch read 2:47 p.m., the sky dimmed unnaturally. He had crossed into another layer of reality, one subtly misaligned. And there she was, Eliza, facing away, wearing the same faded red jacket from the day she vanished. He called out. No answer. As he approached and reached to touch her shoulder, she vanished. Instantly, a black feather fell in her place. The world twisted violently, the trees inverted like reflections in shattered glass. A deep, low-frequency hum filled his skull. And then, silence. He was back at the trailhead, boots muddy, backpack lighter. The photo, gone. 2:47 p.m. Battery, 100%. At first, Dorian believed he was hallucinating, but everything was the same. The missing birds, the air, the broken route that had tripped him earlier. When he reached the clearing again, Eliza was there, this time facing him. Her mouth moved silently, her eyes pleaded. He stepped forward. The world snapped again. 2:47 p.m. Black feather in his hand. He screamed into the silence. No reply. And the loop began again. By the sixth loop, reality started to fracture. A voice recorder appeared in his pack, already recording. His own voice whispered, "Don't follow the whispers. It's not her. Find the tree with no shadow. That's the key." He had no memory of recording it. In the eighth loop, he tried remaining in the clearing, refusing to move. The forest pushed him out. The ground shifted beneath him like a living tide. Each loop brought Eliza closer, her features sharper, her eyes more alive. And always, the black feather, the longer stare, the feeling of being watched. He began to wonder, was he trying to reach Eliza, or was she trying to warn him away? By the 17th loop, Dorian had stopped counting time. He only counted feathers. He had memorized the forest, its invisible currents, the cold zones, the spots where compasses failed. This time, he didn't follow Eliza. He followed the recorder's message. At first, it made no sense. Every tree cast a shadow, until he found one that didn't. It stood crooked and pale, bark dry and cracked like bone. Despite the midday sun overhead, it cast no shadow. At its base, the soil was cracked and littered with black feathers. As he approached, a low vibration filled the air. A hum felt in the bones, not heard. There, half buried in the dirt, he found an old photograph of himself and Eliza as children, smiling in this very clearing. But he had no memory of it. He touched the tree, and everything changed. He was no longer in the forest, but beneath it, a boundless void of impossible geometry, filled with whispers in languages never meant for human ears. Suspended before him was a shape, not Eliza, but the thing that had worn her face. It turned to him. "You sought the truth," it said, its voice echoing through every layer of existence. "Now you must carry it." Visions consumed him. Eliza stepping into the circle. Eliza vanishing into something beyond comprehension. The forest, ancient, conscious, and indifferent. A being that fed on presence, repeating memories, fracturing time. Eliza had escaped, briefly, but the forest marked her. It would not release her, unless someone took her place. And Dorian had. The truth did not horrify him. It completed him. 1 week later, hikers found a man wandering near the trailhead. Barefoot, covered in black feathers, holding an old photograph of 2 smiling children. He didn't speak. He didn't seem to remember his name. But as dusk approached, he would sometimes whisper, "It's her turn now." Some say the loops have ended. Others believe the forest simply needed a new keeper of memory. The clearing still stands, lifeless and watching.